the struggle of labor. They and we take so many things for granted. After slavery, there was a time in this country when people were slaves, but they just weren't called that. They had no rights. There was no 8-hour workday. They had to work from sun up to sundown. But some people who were crazy after they had been told the odds were against them, they were crazy enough to demand an 8-hour workday. 8 hours for work, 8 hours for rest, 8 hours for recreation, and they made that a reality. And many of those who fought were not just men. Women were front and center in the labor movement. And we must recognize the role that women in that movement.
Yes.
And we must remember that even after the Civil War, after the 13th Amendment was passed that abolished slavery, and the 14th Amendment which made us citizens, and the 15th Amendment which gave African Americans the right to vote, it was only men who had those rights. Women were still second-class citizens. They did not get the right to vote until the 20th century. And just as the slaves were told, the odds are against you, and just as the workers were told, the odds are against you, they told women, the odds are against you and you will never get the right to vote. But those women fought and protested, and women today have that right because of that fight.
Yes.
We stand at a crossroads today, and Congressman Pascrell alluded to this earlier, where there are some people who would take us back. And even when I looked at them on television this past weekend, I thought I was looking not through a television, but through a time machine of the 1950s. Past civil rights, past women's rights, past workers' rights. They really don't want anybody to have any right. The only right that they really want is the right to exploit us, but we are not going back. See, what we have to understand is we've been part of a struggle that's really longer than 25 years,
That's right.
Longer than 50 years. This is a struggle that's almost 100 years old. And unlike some of us, when they lose, they don't rest. When President Obama won, they got together the next day and said, we're going to make him a one-term president. That's how they act. See, what is going on in America and has been going on for the past 40 years since the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King is an attempt to turn back 75 years of social progress. But we are not going to go back without a fight. We see in Wisconsin, and we see in other states. Some of us today take for granted the right of workers to unionize, to have a union. But there was a time in the United States of America when if you were thought to be a union organizer, you would be arrested. It was against the law to organize unions. But people knew that they had to engage collectively